By now you know me. Hopefully you have seen my other videos. My name is Meredith with Soul Navigation, and I want to lead with, during these somber times, there is hope for 2020. So I'm going to take you through the most important days of the year that can bring about deep crisis and consequentially deep change. You may need to revisit this video over and over and over a couple of times this year, or get out a piece of paper and a pencil, because I'm going to take you through this coronavirus and what our year looks like. A lot of astrologers are on here saying this is going to be over by May or June. It's not. And I'm sorry to say that, but you know me to be very truthful, and I believe the soul craves the truth. And it's with deep integrity that I tell you this, because knowledge is power. And I share this with you because I want you to have the individual power that you can lend to the collective world to help us raise our vibration up. I'm going to give you the hardest dates of the year, the hardest days, and I'm going to give you some of the really good, juicy, yummy, blessed days of the year too, because I want you to be able to work with this energy and help us raise up the vibrational level so we can put all goodness into the world right now, and we can change the course a little bit. I sometimes find that when we know something hard is coming up, we can expand our emotional bandwidth and we can expand our mental aptitude. So I hope to give that to you in this video. Go get a piece of paper and a pencil if you can, and write these dates down. I'm going to take you through the entire year of 2020. First of all, why is this coronavirus happening? Why is our society, our world, crumbling right now? I believe it's because we are moving out of the third dimension and into the fifth dimension for collective, massive, radical change. I do believe that one of the things that we're getting back to is our innocence. I say this for a couple of reasons, but just go with me, listen to me really, because these are deep and profound thoughts that I'm going to try to condense into this one video. But the nodal axis is about to change. Where the nodes are right now are in Cancer and Capricorn, and I know I've been a broken record about those, with the South Node in Capricorn with Pluto and Saturn. Go watch that video of mine if you haven't. That was in December, and it was very, it was a prophecy, actually. So it was prophetic. But we're going to switch. The nodal axis is going to move into Gemini Sagittarius. And if you think about Gemini and Sagittarius, out of the entire zodiac, they are the most playful two signs. I know Leo can play too, but I do see Sagittarius in its humor as the archetype of Tigger in Winnie the Pooh, and I do see Gemini in its archetype of sense of humor as Peter Pan. And so we've got this innocence that we need to find again collectively in our life. So you watch this. Also, Sagittarius is very natural. They can kind of be hippie-ish. You know, they're the anthropologist or the philosopher. So they're not a super glamorous sign. Quite honestly, neither is Gemini. So you're going to see that we are going to return to natural beauty out of this crisis. First, we are going to walk across hot coals. We are going to face a fire-breathing dragon, and we are here to slay it. Not everybody will, and that's the sad part. But after we slay this dragon, after we walk across hot coals, after we push through the strife and the struggle, after we crumble and fall, after we lose our legs, we learn to walk again and then run, moving into the fifth dimension where there's love and hope and adoring energy. We learn how to cherish things again. What are we going to get out of this crisis? And by the way, I am so sorry to say that this crisis is going to take us mostly through this whole year. I'll get to that in a minute. First, I want to show you what we're going to learn, what we're going to glean from this. First, we're going to get back to natural beauty. Can you hear the birds? They're chirping for me. Yeah, natural beauty. the beauty inside nature. We're going to get back to understanding the profundity of doing good deeds. We are going to absolutely honor people who have integrity. We are going to fall in love again with honesty. We are going to be seen and want nothing other than to be helpful. Mostly, we are developing our empathy and our compassion for life and for our earth, and for learning why we should cherish, and I mean cherish, our freedom. We are developing a new relationship to food. I mentioned this last year. I think it was in my March video, if you want to go check it out, where Uranus was changing signs, was moving out of Aries and into Taurus. We're having a whole new relationship with food, right? So washing an apple for 20 seconds before you eat it is really cherishing food. The world will ultimately come together, and collectively we will become better human beings. We will have a better earth. Pollution will be lessened out of this. Noise pollution, friendship pollution, toxic relationships, pollution, toxicity will be lessened. We will become more loving and compassionate, and we will stop worrying about the stupid and inane things that we once valued. Our values are shifting for ourselves and for the next generation. You know, our kids are not getting dumber, they're getting smarter this generation, because our values are shifting, and our values ultimately have to, for advancement in this world and for the survival of our species. So how are we doing this? How is this coronavirus doing this? Through contrast learning. By showing us the dark side, we will come to cherish the light. We will crave it. We will want it. We will value human interaction deeply, and we won't take people for granted. Go with me now, and don't scroll ahead because I don't want you to miss any dates. But today is March 28th. So you're going to be hopefully watching this a couple times, but I'm going to load this on March 29th. And on March 29th, I want to tell you that Mars is at that 29th degree in Capricorn. And if you know me and you know my work, I'm an evolutionary Western astrologer. You know that that 29th degree is a crisis degree. So the 29th degree is the last degree in a sign. And when a planet, any planet, is at that 29th degree, that planet is going out. It's like a supernova. It's like a black hole. It's like a dark energy just sucks out the life of that particular sign or planet. When you are standing in that 29th degree collectively, and if that 29th degree is interacting in your chart, this is going to affect you. And so I'm just putting this out there, and I'm going to show you a lot about why I feel this coronavirus is going to affect us through this entire year, and we're not going to be out of the clear of it completely until next February. But March 29th, Mars is at the 29th degree of Capricorn. We are going to get some sort of hard news on the 29th, and I want you to be prepared for it. And on March 30th, Saturn and Mars come together in Aquarius till April 14th. So basically, between the 29th and April 14th, you are going to see a crescendo. You are going to see inflamed, outrageous anger. Saturn oppresses. It holds you back. It holds you down. And Mars cannot be held down. Mars is life force energy, and it's like rocket fuel. It's like a rocket ship taking off. So your energy might feel like you are a rocket ship filled with energy, and yet you're suppressed. So it's like champagne, corked champagne in a bottle, and that Mars just wants to pop the cork out, but Saturn won't let it happen. So your energy feels hemmed in, reined in, oppressed and suppressed. And if that's you cooped up at home, I get it. But imagine this. What if you were on a ventilator in a hospital? you're there for 6 weeks in ICU and you can't have contact with anybody on the outside world. I think that's one of the hardest parts of what's going on right now. People are dying alone, and people are counting on strangers, nurses and doctors, to care about them, to care enough about them that they'll keep them alive. So their energy is being oppressed and suppressed. It's being held in and held back because they don't have access to their loved ones on the outside world. And this is infuriating. This is heartbreaking. Between March 29th and April 14th, you're going to feel hemmed in. You're going to feel like people want to shut you up. You might live in a state in the United States where you are being overlooked, or you're treated as if you are invisible because we have a president who doesn't want to acknowledge liberal states. You might feel that you are a country that has been silenced, or that the rest of the world is not willing to see. So you might see an outrage over this oppression and suppression, this pent up anger. What am I saying to you about that? Rise above it. What is the cure for anger? Peace. You cannot be peaceful and angry at the same time. You have got to get into your peaceful state, okay? And teach others and inspire others through social media to get peaceful, to meditate, to stand in a mind melting experience where you can relax the mind, and then that relaxes the body and relaxes the heart. On April 3rd, Mercury is in conjunction. That means next to or in alignment. It's like this, right? Mercury is right here, and then you have Neptune. It's in alignment, and it's in Pisces. So this is a double-edged sword. The world is going to be on April 3rd massively confused. People aren't going to know if you should wear a mask or you shouldn't wear a mask. You should stay home, you shouldn't stay home. There's going to be such bogus, delusional news. I want you to make sure you fact check everything. Don't believe anything. You fact check it. So if you don't want to watch the news or get your news from the news, listen to the people on the front line. And I also want to tell you that Mercury conjunct Neptune is so glorious and so gorgeous. I have this in my chart natally, but not in Pisces. And it creates an intuition and a psychic sense. So I want you to know right now that you can receive messages from your crossed over loved ones and your guardian angels. Talk to your spirit guides. Talk to your deceased ancestors. Talk to your guardian angel spirit guides. What I want you to know is the veil is very thin. It's like God will show his or her face to you and will speak to you at this time. So it's a double-edged sword. There's spiritual connection, psychic connection, which is beautiful. I love that. I live with that every single day, and I thank God for it. But on the other hand, the information in the external collective world, you will be tricked, or others will try to trick you or dupe you. I want to say this. I have a lot of friends in Asia, and I have tons and tons of friends in India and Korea and China and Thailand and Singapore, and half of my family is Japanese. I personally, I'm not a doctor, but I personally believe in wearing a mask. So I think you're going to see that there's all kinds of controversy, and I just want you to do what's right for you. But it's going to be very confusing times around April 3rd. I'll also tell you that April 3rd also brings up a secondary aspect where Jupiter and Pluto are in alignment again, right? They're in total alignment, so they act as one force. In the sign of Capricorn, these two planets are going to, at this time, around April 3rd. Now, remember, these transits go 10 days before and 10 days after. I'm just giving you the day that it's exact, but it doesn't mean it's not happening or occurring. 10 days before, 10 days after. They are reshaping. We are being asked to reshape our entire value system. And we're going to reshape it in a way where we will never be the same again. We will be forever changed. Forever changed. And I believe we will be forever changed with thoughtfulness. We're growing a deep level of thoughtfulness. I know you can't see it right now. I hate to be gory, just please forgive me. But if this was a murder, right? We're like in the middle of the murder. So we haven't gone beyond that and healed from that wound yet. So we're in the midst of it. And I don't know when you're watching this, but maybe you're watching this a year later and you get to, see this in hindsight. That will be a fascinating view. We are transforming and reshaping our entire value system as a species, not as Americans. I'm sitting here in the first and original American epicenter for the coronavirus, just a couple miles away from Kirkland, Washington, outside of Seattle, Washington. And I'm not speaking about Americans, I'm speaking about the human race. The human race will never be the same again after this. And we are reshaping our value systems. We will value things differently. I feel that there is a blessing in that because we are going to value the things of the fifth dimension. We are going to see that love is more important than money, that time is more important than gifts. We are going to see that family is critical, and it could be your friendships as well. Friends might be family too. You can see that we have been sweating over ridiculously small things. So this is going to move us into more hope, love, confidence, empathy, compassion, sincerity, trust, truthfulness, enlightenment, spirituality, divine communication, intuition. That's the fifth dimension. So April 14th, the moon and Jupiter and Pluto all sit together in a cluster, in a conjunction. I want to tell you, April 14th is going to be a very heartbreaking day for so many people. And I am so sorry. And I pray you are not one of them. But on April 14th, what I want you to do is meditate, put love into the world, put humor into the world. Oh, cherish the people that are important to you, because there will be a lot of heartbreak right around that time. I think many people are going to go back to work in mid-May. I don't think our kids in the Washington area, at least, and probably in the United States, will go back to school this year. And I pray they go back in August. But I do believe people are going to go back to work in mid-May, because we're going to have a bit of false hope in May. And we're going to be so restless that people just want to get out and do things. Interesting enough, this year, these critical dates follow a lot of birthdays in my family's life. It's bizarre. But on June 20th, 6/20/2020, which is my dad's birthday, ironically, he's crossed over. Bless you, Daddy. Miss you. It is the summer solstice. And there is a huge, enormous, gargantuan eclipse. And this day is so profound all around the world because Mars and Neptune are in the same exact place in Pisces. And the nodes are now in Sagittarius and Gemini, but they sit at the 29th degree. So remember I told you about the 29th degree being like a supernova, a black hole? On June 20th, 2020, with Mars conjunct Neptune, that's going to be just kind of a cluster mess, if you will. And the nodes at the 29th degree of Gemini and Sagittarius, we are dealing with non-truths. We are going to be dealing with illusions and craziness. We are not out of the woods. We are not out of the woods on June 20th. And Pluto is also conjunct Jupiter again. So June 20th is a tough day. So I don't know if that falls on American Father's Day or not. Sometimes June 20th does, just because it's my dad's birthday, so I know that. But what I want you to do is put into your phone calendars these dates. And I want you to wake up that morning and I want you to not believe this video. And I want you to raise your vibration up so high that you pour love into your world. And if we all do that, if all 10 to 11,000 of my subscribers do that. The massive movement we can create. We can change the vibrational energy up to help others heal. There will be a great deal of suffering right around then. That is a very hard day. That is one of the hardest days of the year. July 2nd, so that's June 20th, move to July 2nd. Now we've got Saturn sitting at the 29th degree. Can you believe this? And this just is so rare that you get all these 29 degrees, boom, 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 boom. And that's why my astrological take on the coronavirus is a little bit different. I'm following that 29th degree because it just was staring me down once I started to delve into it. And that's where I feel like I've got a little different timeline than most. So Saturn is going to sit on the 29th degree around July 2nd. And Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter are all in retrograde. So I am going to tell you that people are going to be in serious denial about feeling or being safe again. And I don't know how that's going to actually shape itself. Maybe there's a vaccine, right? That doesn't work. Or maybe people are just so sick and tired of following the rules, they just rebel. Or maybe one part of the world is healed, but the other part of the world is suffering terribly. There's going to become a resurgence. So while we might feel safe in May, by June 20th, I feel like we're back in this again. And I want you around July 2nd, so just think of the 4th of July if you live in the United States and celebrate that. Pour positive energy again into your life, your mind, your world. And I want you, despite these negative days, I want you to put optimism and hope into your heart and into your mind. Watch the news, of course, but not too much. Watch a lot of the news that represents the kindness of strangers. Also appreciate the blessings and the silver linings in between the hard stories. So look at the researchers, celebrate our nurses and doctors, know that this is going to pass, but it is building our souls. It is building our character, and it's moving us closer, believe it or not, to enlightenment, to the fifth dimension. July 2nd, when we have Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all in retrograde, we might be in a denial, and we will become exhausted by this virus. We're just going to be done with it, exhausted, but we're not done with it. On August 2nd, we have the full moon, and the moon is in Leo. I'm sorry, the sun is in Leo, and the moon is in Aquarius. And every year, this happens to be my favorite full moon. I don't really love full moons. I think they're beautiful and they're ominous. But I do like this full moon. And full moons are always endings. But let me tell you a little bit about the August 2nd full moon, and my God, I want you to celebrate it, okay? I want you to go outside and look at it in its glory. It's usually, at least where I live, it's usually very big, very giant, and very low. It's super low. It's like at eye level. It's really beautiful. But Venus, the planet of love, is on the North Node. Venus on the North Node is like love for mankind, love for the collective, a healing agent, a healing cure, a love cure, healing through love, healing through empathy, healing through sweetness. Venus is sweet platonic love. It is you going grocery shopping for your elderly neighbor. That's Venus on the North Node. So put August 2nd on your calendar and plan to do something so beautiful and so positive for the world on August 2nd. Good stories will flood us on August 2nd. And I hope you, as one of my beautiful subscribers, by the way, I love my subscribers. I just have, I don't know, I have the sweetest, kindest people who comment, and I would love for you to leave me a comment. Please, please, please leave me a comment. If you have a question, if you have a comment, I want to hear from you. I want to know your stories. I want to know your difficult challenges, and I want to know, what are you feeling blessed with right now? Will you please share with us all, because it helps so much. If you haven't seen my Pisces Rising video, I want you to go watch my Pisces Rising video and then read the comments. That video is so healing, not necessarily because of me, but because of the comments on that video. It is the most beautiful tribute of people. Be like that on this video, and let's put positive stories. Show me, tell me, where have you seen the silver lining? Today, here's a side note. Today, my girlfriend told me that she was at the gas station getting gas, and an elderly woman came up to her, and we're all in quarantine here. We're in serious lockdown. We've got gas stations, pharmacies, and grocery stores, and you can't even go into grocery stores. They bring the groceries out to you. Anyways, a lady gave her a bouquet of flowers and said, "You deserve these." It was so beautiful. Mere strangers, the nicest people. I went on a walk yesterday. I probably saw 15 people in my neighborhood. Do you know, every single person smiled at me and said hello to me? Every single person. Usually people walk right by and they're on headset. They don't even notice me. They were like, "Hi." And then another man saw me and my dog walking on one side of the street, and he had two dogs on the same side of the street, and he crossed over. He didn't make me cross over to the other side of the street. Just lovely. People are so caring. Yesterday, I had a client. My family's out of toilet paper. We're down to 2 rolls. You can't get any toilet paper in Seattle. There is none. There's none. So if you want to ship me some toilet paper, I'm accepting gifts and toilet paper, right? I'm sure you are too. But anyways, a client friend of mine, just a love, hopefully she's watching this. She's such a beautiful soul. She drove 3 cities away to come put toilet paper on my front doorstep, and she sanitized the packaging. I could cry. It's just so stinking sweet. So there are magical moments in times like this. And so leave me some comments below on those moments that are happening in your life that you've seen. So let's move forward. September 2nd. This is another very spiritual day, and it is chocked full of magic. So the moon is in conjunction with Neptune. September 2nd is like a day of divine angels. If you need a miracle on September 2nd, I want you to sit yourself down and you open up that third eye and your heart. And I want you to ask for your miracle. On September 13th, we're not out of the weeds yet. You know, we're not through it yet, but we will see just this glimmer of hope. Venus is conjunct to Neptune. And so that's God's love. That's like the highest kind of love you can feel and see and experience. You'll see it in the world. You'll see stories that are just, you'll see God's miracle, divine miracles. You'll see human miracles too. But Jupiter goes direct, so it gets out of retrograde. So on September 13th, we may get some good news. We still have hard times. I don't want you to let your guard down. I want you to still wear your masks if you're wearing them. But we're learning to see and appreciate and value and experience the sweeter things. So on September 29th, Saturn is trying to break free from Pluto by going direct. So it's going to move away from Pluto, but it still isn't far enough to not feel them together. And we don't like them together. This is what my video was about in December that you should go watch. So Saturn wakes up and it goes direct. It gets out of retrograde. And it's like, we're going to get through this. You know, it's like Napoleon. We've got this. We are doing this. We are getting the hell out of this. And it's determined. So it feels kind of good. Now, listen to me. October 31st is a really, really hard day. And in the United States, that's Halloween. It will be an ominous night. There is a full moon that night, but Uranus is on the moon, and Uranus creates crisis, accidents, tragedies, shocks out of the blue. And it's shocking times. So I do want you to be careful on October 31st. And I want you to be peaceful because it's a shocking time. How do you remedy that? How do you make that not happen, if you will? You become the antithesis of it. You become peaceful and sort of impenetrable. So I want you to prepare to have a great time on Halloween because the energy is so unusually dark. Now, November 26th, that is Thanksgiving in the United States. Isn't it funny how all these dates are around Father's Day and American holiday? It's bizarre. Like July 2nd, that's by July 4th, and Halloween and Thanksgiving and my dad's birthday, and even my birthday has a signature on it. So it is crazy. It just boggled my mind when I looked at this. So on November 26th, a lot of us are going to feel grace and we're going to feel blessed. But there will be a significant amount of people who will be having Thanksgiving without their loved ones at the table for the very first time. So November 26th is a very bittersweet day. There is a deep, deep gratitude for that day. And there's a coming together, and there's a feeling that we're all in this together, and we are winning at this more so. But it is twisted with emotion because a lot of people still aren't. That day kind of makes us feel like we've turned the corner, but don't let your guard down yet. Please, please don't. I still want you to protect yourself. Sanitize, hand sanitizer, etc., etc. Now, on December 7th, Saturn sits at that 29th degree of Capricorn again, and it stays there until December 17th. So that's a tough time. That is a really tough time where you are going to feel that oppression. You're going to feel like, God, what is the point of all this? What is the gosh darn lesson? Have we not already learned it? No, because we are trying to move all of humanity into the lesson. So you might get it, I might get it, but there's a whole other group of people that don't. And we are one. If this teaches us anything, we don't need walls. We don't need walls on our borders. We are all one. I am you, and you are me. We are cut from the same cloth. And if you're not well, I'm not well. Right? Between the 7th and the 17th, with that 29th degree of Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn until the 17th, it is challenging. So on the 17th, it moves into the 0 degrees Aquarius. Saturn moves into 0 degrees Aquarius. So we feel more liberated. We feel like if we are not yet out of quarantine, and it might be our second quarantine or third quarantine, if we are not yet, we know at any moment we will be. And when it moves into 0 degrees Aquarius, it's just like there will be solutions. There's going to be technology, and there's going to be new innovations. When Saturn is in Aquarius, it is going to innovate remedies. Now, listen to this. It's a very interesting time. That December 18th, now Jupiter is sitting at the 29th degree. Is this crazy? Of Capricorn. And it is still hard, but hope has found us. So now we have Saturn at that 0 degrees, and on the 18th, Jupiter is on the 29th degree, and on December 19th, Saturn and Jupiter are both, hallelujah, at the 0 degree. 0 degree is the most powerful degree. That's where you have the most oomph. That's where when you strike the match, it lights. That is when the rocket lifts off. That is takeoff. So on December 19th, we have Saturn and Jupiter both at 0 degrees Aquarius, and we feel like there is a respite for our hardships that have found us. And we see generosity and work again. And we see finally our ability to financially recover. We might not be financially recovered yet, but we see we will be. We see the rebound. We see the goodness and the hope. We believe again because we've been worn down to a nub by this time. On December 21st, it may feel like we were just liberated, right? On the 19th and the 20th. And then on the 21st, we might feel depressed or a little bit lifeless because the sun is now sitting at the 29th degree of Sagittarius. And there's a melancholy in that. And there's a reminder that many of our loved ones aren't with us. But we do feel that there is going to be cures and remedies and hope and love and generosity and freedom and liberation. We will have, at the end of the year, come through something so hard. We will talk about it forever. We will feel rocked, and we will have new character and integrity, and our values will have shifted. And our following year in 2021 will be a totally different kind of year. Never again will any of us alive right now go through anything like that, like 2020. Never again, not in our lifetimes. So on January 13th, 2021, there is radical transformation that has been made. It is a huge day, huge game-changing day. Now remember, this is 10 days before and 10 days after. Our whole world is going to be changing around January 13th, 2021. Mars conjuncts Uranus and the Sun conjuncts Pluto. Something about our world will have died. In its death, there is a rebirth. This is truly the phoenix rises from the ash type of day. And I don't know exactly where we're going to be in the process. We might get another, hard or challenging time, but we might simultaneously feel uplifted. But what I can say to you is that I feel like this January 13th, 2021 is a turning point. And it is an amalgamation of all of us collectively rising up and wanting more for our world, for our life, for our planet, for our loved ones. And we realize that, again, we are all in the same crock pot. And the remedy is love and hope and inspiration. And so I tell you about these harder days because I want you to help the world change the natural energy that rises up on those days. And I believe through inspiration, motivation, love, kindness, generosity, compassion, and empathy, we can do just that. I hope you're well. Leave me a comment below. Let me know where the silver lining has found you. And I wish you health and wealth and happiness for you and your entire family. From my house to yours, I'm signing off. It's Meredith with Soul Navigation. You can go read about me in the notes below and take good care.